These protest laws are draconian. They should be torn up. If you suspend democracy, you're not in a democracy.
In the heart of Sydney, protesters are gathering. And so are police. The thin blue line grows thicker and thicker.
I'm speechless. I am stunned at the police presence. It's intimidating. It is overreach.
This group is rallying for their right to rally, calling for an end to the government's new protest laws. Under those reforms, rallies like this have been deemed unauthorised for the past month.
Right, Shelby, please. Our Indepth is in there. You're walking the full path.
Keep going. Just in there.
Where's the person obstructing?
Anyone trying to use this footpath.
Today, the Police Commissioner confirmed a temporary ban on protests will be extended, but for the next 2 weeks, it'll only apply to the eastern suburbs and parts of the CBD. The planned route of an Invasion Day rally on Australia Day will be excluded.
I'm satisfied that the route, and certainly the declaration that I've made this afternoon, is the best way to ensure community safety. This decision today is not protest agnostic. Any person can now lodge a Form 1 for the areas that have now been declared.
In the wake of the Bondi massacre, the state government rushed through Parliament new laws to restrict rallies.
Things need to change in New South Wales, and as a result we are making and taking extraordinary measures in relation to public assemblies.
The Police Commissioner now has the power to issue a blanket ban on protest approvals following a terror event. He can impose the restrictions for 2 weeks at a time for up to 3 months.
It's taken the heat out of the community. I think the fact that we haven't seen large-scale open protests, people marching through the streets of Sydney, has reduced the tension.
While the temporary ban is in place, protesters must abide by a different set of rules. They can show up to rallies, but they're not allowed to march. And police are here making sure they don't block the footpath or the road. If they do, they could end up in serious trouble because at an unauthorised rally, the usual legal protections don't apply.
A protest march of the traditional sort, of the sort that we've celebrated for decades in this country, that would be at risk of exposing each and every individual to a move on power or potentially a criminal charge. I think what we're seeing is a cumulative chipping away at the right to protest, and that's a concern in a liberal democracy.
In the weeks after Bondi, Chris Minns argued the new laws were necessary to protect the community at a time when tensions were running high. The Premier pointing to the actions of some pro-Palestine protesters who attended marches in the city.
How can it be that a protest can take place in the state and there's a swastika tattooed on the Star of David on a poster in the middle of the city? How can we say that protests that have these signs have no bearing on either the culture, the temperature, or even extreme actions within our community?
Josh Lees has led major pro-Palestine rallies through the CBD each week for more than 2 years.
There's absolutely no evidence for the outrageous claims they're trying to make to blame our peaceful movement for the horrific events at Bondi, for example.
I think the vast majority of protesters are peaceful. The vast majority of protesters care deeply about the issues. On the other hand, though, we've seen groups seeking to exploit these protests, seeking to not only express extremist sentiment, but hateful sentiment towards the Jewish community in particular. We need to, at the very least, put a pause on the expressions of hatred in our streets.
A group of activists, led by Josh Lees, recently launched a constitutional challenge in the New South Wales Supreme Court, arguing the laws are invalid. They're to push ahead, even if the ban is lifted entirely.
These laws will still be on the books, which could be used in future. So, yeah, we're going ahead with that constitutional challenge. We think these laws are unconstitutional.
The first question the court will consider is, does this law burden political communication and expression? And I think it's pretty clear that it does. In fact, it's designed to do so. One of the challenges, I think, for the government will be to defend a regime that creates a blanket prohibition, that is, no protest, no matter their topic, no matter their organisers, can have the benefit of authorisation. So that's a pretty substantial step to take.
The impact of that step was on show on Sunday when Paul Silver planned to march against Indigenous deaths in custody.
I'm a grieving nephew that lost an uncle
that won't give up fighting for the justice and accountability he deserves.
He applied to rally before the ban kicked in, but without approval, he couldn't lead a march. He intended to do so anyway.
Please join me while we try to march to the domain.
Today's not the day. Today's
you
not
have
the
to
day,
make the
Paul.
announcement,
Paul, today's not the day. Can I just ask that everyone disperse in a peaceful and orderly manner? We need to abide by the order in place.
As demonstrators put the ban to the test, they found a wall of police blocking their path. They decided to obey a move-on direction to avoid any arrests.
Righto! Thanks for attending today, guys! I think it's the most safe option if we disperse.
We'll be back! We'll be back!
The police commissioner had been warned by protesters they would be marching through the city on a much bigger scale on January 26, with or without the ban in place.
We'll have well and truly over 500 police that will manage, monitor those protests that take place. As to anyone seeking to hijack one of those protests there, I'd say think again. This is not the time. I've been really clear. This is a time for calm.